Well, good afternoon and welcome to Papillion Vista High School. My name is Jason Ryan, the principal here at Monarch High. And wow, what an experience and opportunity we have here today in front of us, and most importantly for our students to experience this and to sit in on such an awesome opportunity here. I'd like to welcome the students here from Papillion Vista South as well. We're excited to have Titans in the building here today. Thanks for coming. And obviously the Monarchs here as well. A couple shout outs here this afternoon, excuse me. Becky Hoke, Becky's over here to my right. She is the teacher of our PLV Media Academy. We've got our media students here live streaming this event. Our students put together the microphones and set up. So just another experience and opportunity for our students to be engaged in this process. I'd also like to thank Joe Pilikowski. Mr. Pilikowski's up front here. You'll hear from him a little bit in a minute. He's our social studies teacher here who was contacted and just facilitated and organized this event. And it's just did a wonderful job. I'm very grateful for Mr. Pilikowski and his time. Obviously the State Patrol here, in their communication and coordinating all of this so we could have this here on campus in the Excellence Center. So again, an excellent opportunity here for our students to be engaged. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our superintendent, Mr. Dr. Andy Rickley. Again, we're very fortunate. Dr. Rickley, a former social studies teacher, I believe, and just near dear to his heart here to be here today. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Rickley. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason, and happy Wednesday, everyone. It is a beautiful day, but more importantly, it is a great day to be a Monarch. We are thrilled to invite our Titan students here as well. This is a great day for the school district. Before we get a little further into the program, just a couple of other individuals that we wanted to single out. Too many dignitaries, too many really smart, important people to single them out individually, but I do want to draw your attention to the front of the room. We've got Judge Robert ONeill, longtime school board member, longtime Sarpy County judge. He's been a friend, he's been an ally, he's been on our Board of Education. He's an outstanding individual. And his lovely wife, Carla Rupiper, who for the longest time was the City of Papillion's city attorney, recently retired, both of them. If you haven't noticed, they have a glow about them due to their retirement, no doubt. So we're incredibly pleased to have them. Interesting bit of trivia. Judge ONeill was taught by Chief Justice Heavican. We won't embarrass the Chief Justice too much, but he was a teacher in this building from 1969 to 1971. So to have a Monarch as the Chief Justice of the Nebraska Supreme Court and a distinguished judge both come out of this building speaks so highly of this building, its staff, and this community. So Judge and Carla, thank you for being here. Seated immediately to the left of Carla is Bonnie Moore, longtime friend and supporter. She is the Chief Sarpy County Deputy Attorney. We're thrilled to have her. Jason and Joe, thank you so much for inviting us into your building. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize my two bosses. We have at least two members of the Papillion Vista Community Schools Board of Education. We have Mr. Marcus Madler at the back of the room. We have Sue Ann Witt at the back of the room. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your leadership. We are so thrilled to have you here. This is an incredibly special event for our students, for our staff, for Chief Justice Heavican and his team. To have a high school host an event of this magnitude is pretty darn incredible. It doesn't happen without Joe Pilikowski and his leadership. Becky, again, thanks for you and your students picking up the baton and broadcasting this so those that couldn't be here can see this. But an incredibly proud day for the community and for the school district. Without further ado, Mr. Joe Pilikowski.
All right, thank you, Dr. Rickley. My name is Joe Pilikowski. I'm the department head here of social studies. Welcome, all of you, to this incredible experience to see the Nebraska Supreme Court. Before I begin, I want to thank two women who've worked very hard to make this day possible. First, Janet Bancroft. Janet, where are you at? Is she around here? She's over there. There's Janet. She's a public information officer for the court. Her and I shared about 40 emails about how to make this day happen, so I appreciate Janet very much. Thank you for your help. Second, Doris Huffman and the Nebraska Bar Foundation. She is the executive director, and welcome to her and those with her from the Nebraska State Bar Foundation. All right, here are some facts. And decorum, about the Nebraska Supreme Court joining us today. Our Supreme Court hears oral arguments, a discussion of the facts and the law involved in the cases on appeal. Attorneys on each side will have 10 minutes to present their arguments. The side challenging a trial court or a court of appeals decision presents its arguments first with the opportunity to reserve up to 5 minutes for rebuttal. The side bringing the appeal is called the appellant. The side responding to the appeal is referred to as the appellee. The Supreme Court sits for a week-long period once per month to hear arguments and cases before them. Typically, cases are argued only in the morning. Once the oral arguments are over, the justices begin the task of deciding the cases and writing the opinions of the court that will stand as precedents for our state to follow. Court decisions are never announced from the bench. The court communicates its decisions by filing written opinions with the Office of the Clerk of the Supreme Court and by posting them on their opinions website. Opinions are issued several months following arguments, depending on the complexity of the case and other factors. When observing the Supreme Court, it may be helpful for you to understand the various roles people around you will be playing. At the state capitol in Lincoln, where they regularly hear proceedings, the 7 justices enter the courtroom through a door directly behind the Chief Justice's chair. The newest justice enters first and is followed by the rest of the court in reverse order of seniority. The Chief Justice enters last and sits in the middle while the remaining justices alternate to his left and to his right. The newest member of the court sits on the far right as you face the bench. Today the justices will enter through the door at the front and to the right. The Nebraska Supreme Court bailiff, Miss Allie Stewart, sits at the table near the bench and will be front and your left today. It's the bailiff's duty to open the court session by calling the courtroom to order. Next, their main duty is to monitor the times which the attorneys present their arguments. As with the justices, the bailiff's duties in the courtroom during oral arguments represent a relatively small percentage of the overall work they do for the court. The attorneys scheduled to argue appeals are seated at the tables to the right and to the left of the lectern, which is located directly in front of the Chief Justice. The appellant usually sits to the left and the appellee to the right. In presenting their arguments, the attorneys speak from behind the lectern. Each attorney's time is monitored by the bailiff, and the arguments are stopped by the court at the conclusion of the allotted time. The attorney's presentations may be interrupted by questions from the justices to clarify the issues. Because of the special nature of our proceedings being at a high school in front of high school students, the court will provide the unique opportunity after hearing the case to have a Q&A session with the students asking questions of the court. Students can come up to the microphone with questions for the court, and we'll have about 30 minutes to converse with the students. When speaking to the court during our Q&A session, please refer to the court as justices or collectively as the court. Please refrain from phrases like you guys or you all. Remember, because this case has not been decided by the justices, specific questions about their feelings toward this case and other pending cases cannot be answered. Some additional rules and decorum for us. Movement within the courtroom is restricted. Individuals observing must remain in their seats at all times. When the justices enter and exit the room, the court bailiff will say, "All rise." Individuals should stand until the Chief Justice invites the audience to be seated. When the justices exit the courtroom, the bailiff will again say, "All rise," and the audience is to stand until all the justices have left the room. It is best to watch Ms. Stewart for visual clues. When she stands, the audience stands. Hopefully you do not have a phone with you, but if you do, please turn them off completely now. Silence shall be maintained at all times during the court session. No photographs or recording are allowed without the permission of the court. With the help of PLV Media, this proceeding will be broadcast live through YouTube and will be available to be accessed afterwards. With that, I will turn it over to recently retired Honorable Judge Robert ONeill. Judge ONeill has given countless hours of his time over the years to support Papillion La Vista High School and its mock trial program. We are forever grateful for Judge ONeill and all that he has given to our high school. Judge ONeill.
afternoon. I'd like to thank Mr. Pilikowski and Dr. Rickley for their kind introductions. Some of the teaching staff and administrators know that I'm a proud Monarch graduate, although it was so long ago that the high school was located in what was now Papillion Middle School, and the original bond issue to construct this building was passed during my senior year. What few here at Papillion La Vista know is that Chief Justice Heavican was a high school teacher at what was then known as Papillion High School between 1969 and 1971. The Chief Justice was my English teacher during my senior year, and in fact attended our most recent high school reunion. So it is a great honor to welcome him back to Papillion La Vista High School today. Present are members of the Chief Justice's family, his cousin Jerry and niece Chelsea Heavican, and Jerry's wife Sue Heinrichs. Also present is Sharon Kresha, the Vice President of the Nebraska State Bar Foundation. As some of you know, the Bar Foundation works diligently on this program and runs the Nebraska State High School Mock Trial Program, along with several other programs benefiting Nebraska students. Papillion La Vista High School has participated in my mock trial since its inception over 40 years ago. If there are members of the mock trial team present, would they please stand? Give them a big hand, they work really hard. The Nebraska Supreme Court holds oral arguments at 3 high schools across the state each year. The court is particularly pleased that Papillion La Vista High School has extended today's invitation. Also, we are honored to have them. Supreme Court proceedings are open to the public at all times, as well as those of the Nebraska Court of Appeals. That includes the permanent courtrooms at the state capitol. There are local courts here in Papillion, as well as those across the state that are also open to the public, including the district, county, and separate juvenile courts. I was one of 2 juvenile court judges here in Sarpy County for 26 years until my retirement last May. The case you will hear today is in re interest of Manuel C. and Mateo S., children under the age of 18, State of Nebraska appellee versus Amber S. appellant. Mateo and Manuel were found by the Lancaster County Separate Juvenile Court to be children who lacked proper parental care due to the faults of their mother under the Nebraska Juvenile Code. This case centers on the proper interpretation of the Indian Child Welfare Act, or ICWA. You will hear the attorneys in the court refer to ICWA throughout these proceedings. ICWA is a federal law passed in 1978 and adopted by the state of Nebraska. It allows Indian tribes to intervene in juvenile court where the children who are the subject of these juvenile proceedings are Indian children. To intervene means for the appropriate tribe to be able to participate in juvenile court as a legal party. In other words, the tribe has the same legal standing to represent its interests in the case as to the welfare of the children, as do the county attorney who represents the state of Nebraska, the guardian ad litem who is an attorney appointed to represent the best interests of the children, and the attorney for the parents. This case is an appeal from the Lancaster County Separate Juvenile Court. It is my great honor to introduce to you the Nebraska Supreme Court. With that, I invite the State Patrol to the front for the announcement.